Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. This is part 7 of the Streetsmart Answers videos. Now, in a recent video that I did, it was about retiring in Pattaya, and it was very popular, and it provoked many questions about living here and retiring here. So I thought we should do a Streetsmart Answers video mainly about this subject. So here we are walking down Dongtan Beach Road with its beautiful views, which is where lots of people, including girls, come to exercise. I had a funny email from a subscriber who lived in the Gold Coast in Australia, and he said that he was fed up with just how demanding the girls in Brisbane are, and could he retire in Thailand and find a wife? Now, that is possible as long as you don't look for a wife in the bar industry in Pattaya, and are aware that because of the cultural and the language difficulties, only maybe 10% of the marriages actually work out. Now, Pattaya is not really the best place to be looking for a wife, is it? Really. Because nowadays, especially, girls come to Pattaya for one reason and one reason only, and that is to make money for themselves and their family. If you go back 10 years to pre-smartphone days, then girls used to come to Pattaya to find a wealthy foreign husband and go live in a different country. And that was the goal of many girls who came to Pattaya. Not so much anymore. Nowadays, it's all business, and it's about making money, especially for the younger girls. Not only making money, but they tend to get addicted to the party lifestyle. I know that some of these girls who go home for a month and after a week they come back because they're bored to death in East End. They can't stand the fact that there's no nightlife, or very little. They want to be back in Pattaya. Going back to what we were saying about looking for a wife, if you think of an equivalent, it would be like going to Las Vegas with the goal of finding a wife. It's just a joke, it's not something you do anymore. Maybe it would be possible to find a regular girl with a regular job in Thailand who was not in the bar scene, but probably not so much in Pattaya, more chance in Bangkok, I think. So retirees are asking in the emails and things and comments was, what exactly is a gentleman's club? Because they've heard of them, but so many of you guys have never ever been to one. And you're sort of scared of them in a way, because it seems that they are very popular with the expat retirees here in Pattaya. Yes, they are. And a popular misconception is that they're for members only and they're expensive. Now, this is completely wrong. There's no membership for any gents club, and all the prices are roughly about halfway between a beer bar and a go-go bar. So, for example, in a gents club, normal beer would be, say, 95 baht, which is like $3 US, and a lady drink for the girl that you're with would be about 130 baht, which is nearly $4 US. So you see, that's roughly about soy 6 prices when I think about it. Similar, very, very close to soy 6 prices. Which, as you may know, is much, much cheaper than a go-go, but a bit more than a beer bar. So it's not expensive. It's not something that you should be wary or scared of. You should give them a try, these gents clubs. Now, with gents clubs, they normally open early, around lunchtime, sort of 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock, that sort of time. And they close usually around 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock in the evening. And there's a reason why they are more afternoon, early evening clubs. And that reason is because the great majority of their customers are expats and quite a few of those expats have living girlfriends. Okay? So quite a few of these guys go golfing or fishing or even sailing in the afternoon. Don't they? Really? You get the picture? Now, if you follow that logic through, with gents clubs, there's not normally a bar fine, because it's not normal to take a girl out of the gents club. It's really an on-site establishment, and everything takes place on the premises. So instead of bar fining a girl as you would in a beer bar or a go-go and taking them to your place or wherever, you, as you call it, pay for the room for 1 hour on site. And the normal price for the room for 1 hour on site is 400 baht, roughly. It's about $12. And you pay the girl separately, which is negotiable. It's normally 1,000 baht, which is $30. Some girls will try to get more than that, but you just negotiate, and usually they'll end up sticking to 1,000 baht, which they'll agree to that in the end. Now, gents clubs are all closed door clubs. You can't just walk in. With the smaller ones, you go to the door and you ring the bell, and someone will come and open the door, and then you can go in. With the larger ones, they often have a doorman. So you just go up, say hello, and just wander into the club, right? Now, when you go in, you'll see there's lots of girls sitting around in groups, chatting to each other, or maybe already chatting to customers. In the smaller clubs, there's no service staff. So one of the girls who is working there will come over and she'll ask you what you would want to drink. And you just say a beer or a whatever, soda or something, and she will go off and get that for you. And then she'll bring it back. Now, when she brings it back, she may try to hang around and get a drink off you, or she may just give you the drink and the bill and then leave. Now, with the larger clubs, there's service staff which are dressed in uniforms differently, so you know who they are. And they will simply come and take your order and go and get your beer or your soda or whatever it is you're drinking and bring it back and give you the bin and the bill, and that's it. Okay? So you just look around, and if you see a girl you like, you smile at her, and if she likes the look of you, she'll smile back and she'll come over. And then you can buy her a drink. And you can chat to her for a while, get another drink if you feel like it, and then you can decide if you want to take it further. And if you do, you just pay for the room fee, which is the 400 baht roughly. And they add that onto your drinks bill. So you can either, when you say you want to go to the room, you can either pay the bill there and then, which is the drinks and the room together, and then you don't need to come back in the bar. You can just leave later. Or you could just leave the bill there in the little container, and then go to the room, and after an hour or so you come back and you continue drinking, and the bill will then just continue to rack up as if you want to continue drinking. So that's the way they do it, okay? As far as that particular bill is concerned. As far as the girl's concerned, you pay the girl in the room, the agreed price, whatever you agreed on with her. Well, what can happen in a gents club, as it can happen in a beer bar, is that a girl will come over just out of the blue and sit down with you and start talking, or the girl who originally got you the drink may do the same. And this is not the girl you're interested in. The one that caught your eye is still sitting at the bar, alone with no customer, and you, with your Western values, feel stuck, like with this girl who's walked over and sat down. Now, the way out of this is very, very simple, but you must do it straight away. Okay, don't delay. So, so that the girl won't lose face. Yeah. As soon as the girl that you're not interested in sits down and starts talking to you, you lean forward and you say to her, point to the girl you like and say, "You see that girl over there? Point her out. Can you ask her to come over? I'd like to buy her a drink." Treat her like she was one of the service staff and you weren't aware of what's going on, like ignorance, you know what I mean? And then she'll say, "Oh, you mean my friend so and so?" "Yes, I'll go and get her." And she'll actually go up and go and get the girl you like will then come over. It's that simple, as long as you do it straight away. At the point where there's no claim on you, if you follow me. So when you walk into a place like this, you're completely girl free, okay? There's no girl got a claim on you, like that's my customer or something. So at that point, you can pick any girl you want. I mean, if you had a girl who was a regular, she would come over and sit down and obviously claim you as her customer if you've been there before, and other girls will stay away. But if it's your first time there and they don't know you, then you're free to choose any girl you want, obviously, with no problem. But the girls think of it as a business. It's not personal at this early stage. It can be later, but it's not at this early stage. You just can say to her, "I like that girl over there," and she'll come over. All right. Now, if you make the mistake of waiting to do this, like for example, when the girl that you don't like comes over and sits down, if you chat to her and buy her a drink just to be polite, that is a mistake. Don't do that, because she'll then claim you as her customer. And then to change her after a while, if you'd had a drink with her and then said, "Oh, can you tell the other girl to come over?" she'll get angry with you because you've made her lose face. Don't do that. Do it straight away. Okay. Now another question which I've been asked a few times is, if you come to retire here, is it possible to have a young girlfriend? Now then, what is young? It's the question, relative to your own age. Do you mean young like in your early 20s, or relative to you? And there's quite a well-known formula for the perfect age difference, okay? And the formula is this: the girl should be half the man's age plus 7 years. And that works for just about any age you can think of, right? It really does. Now, if you go back a few years, before Pattaya became so well known through the internet and everything, and there were hardly any young foreign men here. The only people who were here were the older retirees at that time. That was how it was. Then the young Thai girls had no choice. If they wanted to come and make money, which is why they came to Pattaya, then the only choice for foreign men with money was the older ones. And they looked on it as a business, which it still is today, but they had no choice. And it was normal and totally acceptable throughout the whole of Pattaya to be seen, a young girl in her early 20s, to be seen with an much older guy. Yeah, that was absolutely normal and accepted 10 years ago, or 6, 7 years ago, say. That was normal. Before the internet really took hold and young guys started to arrive here, that was acceptable then. But in the last few years, that has definitely changed, as more and more young foreign men are coming to Pattaya. And the Thai girls in their early 20s no longer want to be seen out and about by their peers, particularly with older men, especially if their friends and peers are out and about with young men and still being paid. It's peer pressure, or it's losing face, as the Thais would see it. But that's not necessarily all bad news, because in Thailand girls consider themselves to be old lady now after the age of about 30 years. So it's not the case in Western society, as you know. It's very different the way it is here. So when a girl passes the age of 30, she feels that she can't compete with the young girls in their early 20s, and she'll start looking for older men. Many of those girls who are in the 30s, early 30s, 31, 2, 3, 4, still look 25. But in their head, they're aware of the fact that they're over 30. And this affects the way they think. I remember chatting to one girl that I thought was about 25, 26, and asked her if she ever goes to iBar or insomnia. And her reply was, yes, before. I thought, before what? Before I get too old. Now, I'm 34 now. And they have too many young girls there. You know, cannot get customer. Too many young girls. I'm old lady now at 30 or 34, whatever she was. Crazy, eh? But that's the way they think. Now, another question that I've been asked by you guys who want to retire here is, how much does it cost for a living girlfriend? And how much does it cost generally to live here? So what I'll do, I have a chart. I'll just put it up on the screen now. And you can, if you want to read it all, you can pause it. I'll just put it on for a few seconds. And then this will give you some ideas of costs, okay? Just pause the video if you want to read that properly, okay? I made that price chart a few months ago, so the baht was stronger then. Now it's cheaper, so the price will actually be lower than it is on the chart. So you can see, it gives you an idea of normal costings to live in a nice sea view condo, quite a decent one. And it also includes the cost of company twice a week, which for a retired guy may well be enough. But there's no girlfriend included in that costing. So if you want to include a full-time living girlfriend, then what you do is deduct the company price, which adds up to about 8,000 baht a month, and replace that with whatever you negotiate with the girl who's going to be your full-time girlfriend, to pay her on a monthly basis. So she can send money to her family, and also there'll be extra for food and drink and toiletries while she lives with you. So how much do you give to your new living girlfriend per month, just for her to share your retirement? Well, the lowest figure for an average looking 30 to 40 year old would be around about 10,000 baht a month, which is about $300 US. But from there it just goes up. Now a young pretty one can cost you maybe at least 3 times that. And if you think about it, you're compensating them for what they could have earned normally. So if a girl, say, worked in an office or a shop, then she would probably be earning, we have the low wages in Thailand, don't forget, about 12,000 baht a month, which is about $350 US a month. And she would need to pay for her room, and maybe she shares a room with another girl, so it could be as little as 2,000 baht. But she needs to buy food, and she needs toiletries and clothes and what have you. So if you gave her 10,000 baht handed to her each month, and you're paying all the outgoings, such as like the rent, the water, electric, food and clothing and toiletries and everything like that, then that's quite an acceptable financial arrangement for a non-bar girl, because she's only earning, well, before she met you, she'd only be earning 12,000 baht a month, which is not a lot. However, If you're talking about a bar girl as your living girlfriend while you retire here, then that's a whole different ball game. The cost then can be much higher depending on where the girl works and how popular she is with her customers. In other words, how much money she can make per month. Don't forget that this is a job to them. At these early stages, there's no emotion in it, it's only money. Yeah? And just imagine, supposing back in your country, if you had a good, well-paid job, yeah, and someone came along to you and offered you a new job, but the wage was half of what it was on the one that you're already working in. But it was a little bit of an easier job, slightly easier. What would you do? I mean, you'd almost certainly say no, wouldn't you? Right? You're not going to give up half your wage just for a slightly less stressful job, especially when your family up in Isan are expecting a certain amount of money each and every month. Now, let me tell you a little story. Just a couple of years before COVID, I used to know a go-go girl who was a real stunner. I mean, a 10 plus, serious stunner. And she was only worked in a go-go for a few months. And then one evening when I was chatting to her, she told me that she had already had, and had had for some time, a very wealthy American sponsor who was now reaching retirement age and was coming to Pattaya to retire. And he wanted to take her as his full-time live-in girlfriend. And she had to give up all her work and live in luxury with him. So I asked her what she was going to do. And her reply was, "He's really rich. Yes, of course I'm going to try." The next week, she finished working the go-go bar. So, fast forward about 6 months, I think it was, and I was sitting in a nice restaurant having a meal, yeah? And this stunning girl walked in alone to pick up a takeout meal. And she looked absolutely immaculate. I mean, a beautiful, expensive dress and shoes and perfect hair and gold bracelets and necklace. And she picked up the takeaway, and I watched her leave carrying the food out. And she crossed the road and got into the driving seat of a brand new Mercedes-Benz and drove off. So that's the level that you can get to in Pattaya if you have the money. Another question which one of you guys asked was, can you get in trouble here, in financially and everything, if you fall in love with a bar girl? Which can happen, does happen. And the answer is absolutely yes. You can get in serious trouble. You can lose everything. Do not, under any circumstances, ever get seriously emotionally involved. Keep a hard heart, because they will. Believe me, they will. Most of them, they'll pretend otherwise, but inside, most of them are quite hard-hearted. You've got to be aware of this. I mean, if a naive guy got drawn into a relationship with a gold digger in Pattaya, and he's completely blind to her and dependent on her moods and everything, he can lose his head and his money, his life savings. You know, you really got to understand you can become very vulnerable if you are inexperienced and naive and soft-hearted. You really can't be any of those things if you're going to move to Pattaya and you're going to live here. You really can't. If you're that sort of person, don't come. I'm not joking. You'll end up losing everything, you know. So don't do that. Don't come if you're that sort of soft-hearted person. I mean, if you're a lonely, middle-aged guy and never in your life been with a really beautiful woman, or haven't for many, many, many years when you were a young man, you can just lose it, you know, you really can. And these ladies, some of them have a heart of stone, you know, and they know what they're doing. They know which buttons to push. You've got to be careful. You really, really got to be careful. You do not want to come here, I can't stress this enough, and live here and retire here if you're a soft touch, to put it in the nicest way I can think of. Don't even consider it. Unless you are a bit more experienced and have a bit of hardness about you. You really need that here in Pattaya. I tell you these stories and things because I don't want you to, to lose everything. I want you to be aware of what goes on here. I mean, it's a wonderful place in many respects. Wonderful. You're great for a holiday. But for retirement, you really don't want to be a soft touch. You've got to be harden up. If you harden up, fine. Okay, great. I'm not trying to put you off. I'm trying to be realistic and try to teach you as much as I can if you're inexperienced newbie, you know? Anyway, guys, you've hung in there. How long is it now? 27 minutes or something? You've hung in there a long time. Thank you very much for watching, and please subscribe and like and share and ring the bell, and I shall see you on the next video.